There are two ways to open Calendar in Enterprise. The first is to click the Calendar icon on the Enterprise toolbar. The other is to go through Tools and then click Calendar. Calendar will pop up in its own window. You can use the arrows on the top left to navigate between months. If you click on the month that Calendar is currently displaying, you can select your desired month and year through drop-down boxes. With Calendar, you can track the filing dates for all your companies in one location. With the Company Selection box on the upper right, you can click the arrow and select or unselect which companies you'd like to view at once. The same goes for the Tax Type selection box. By clicking the arrow, you can decide which tax types you want to show at the same time. If you aren't seeing a company or a tax type you're expecting to see, check these selection boxes. Calendar lets you know what the current date is with an orange box. Any date you've selected is highlighted in light blue. Days of the month that have at least one return due will show their number in blue with brackets. This is calculated based on the companies and tax types you have active in the boxes above. If you'd like to open one of the returns listed on the calendar, just right-click over one of the returns listed and choose Open this return. On the upper right, just under the companies and tax type selection boxes, you can click the blue arrow to show or hide calendar days. Next, let's go through the different column types in Calendar. First is Due Date. This is the due date for the return or form. Internal Due Date is a setting you can adjust. You can set an internal due date for any item by double-clicking on the field and selecting a date from the pop-up calendar. To clear this date, select None. You can also set an internal due date for all the forms at once by using Calendar Options. From the Enterprise menu bar, go to Tools, Options, Calendar Options tab. The Company column shows which company is associated with the particular return that is due. Tax Type shows whether the return due correlates with the Premium, Forms Plus, or Municipal modules. State is the applicable taxing jurisdiction. Description shows the name of the form or return. The Preparer column has a drop-down box that allows you to choose a preparer that is associated with the return or filing. By default, the drop-down list includes Enterprise users that currently have access to the company, module, or product that the return belongs to. Once assigned, this return will appear in the Enterprise user's assigned tree in the applicable product, module, and year. Non-Enterprise users you have added will also appear in the drop-down box. The Reviewer column allows you to assign a reviewer for the selected return or filing. Similar to the Preparer column, Enterprise users can be selected if they have access to the company, product, or module that the return belongs to, and the return will appear in the assigned tree for the reviewer you choose. Non-Enterprise users you have added will appear in the drop-down box as well. You can also assign returns to users through the Assignment tool located under the Tools tab in the toolbar. This dialog gives you all available options for assigning returns. For instance, I can assign myself as a reviewer on this return. Once I do, I'll see it in my assigned tree. The calendar date will also reflect that I'm now the reviewer on the return. These three locations correspond to one another, so no matter who you assign and where, you'll see that in the other two parts of Premium Pro. Please note, only admin users and users with permission can use the Assignment tool. The USPS postmark column indicates whether the return is considered on time if it is USPS postmarked by the due date. If not, it must be received by the due date. The Paid column indicates if a return is paid. This information is drawn from the payment request summary for the associated company, product, or module. There are two ways to mark a return as paid in the payment request schedule. The first method is to manually check the boxes for each return that is paid. The second way is to go to Export Payment Request under Tools. Your options in this dialog are specific to your company. Take note of this checkbox though. If you check Mark Exported Payment Requests as Paid, when the dialog finishes exporting, it'll automatically tick all the corresponding checkboxes in the payment request schedule. Either way, once a box is checked, that return will show Yes under the Paid column in Calendar. The Status column denotes the current stage of the return. You can select a status from the drop-down box. This information flows to the active tree and vice versa. Note, new statuses can be added by right-clicking a return in the active or assigned tree, hovering over Preparer Status, and selecting Add or Edit Preparer Status. You will need to close and reopen Calendar to see the new status added under the Status column in Calendar. The Notes column allows space for you to keep track of any other information you'd like for a particular item. The Payment Request Total column automatically sources in the total amounts of the corresponding payment request associated with that particular filing. The Assignment 1, 2, and 3 columns are an extension of the Preparer and Reviewer columns. These columns allow you to assign returns to different users in Enterprise, so long as they have access to the product, module, or company the return is associated with. You can rename these tabs by right-clicking the column heading and selecting Rename Column. Like the other columns, non-Enterprise users you have added will be available for selection as well. Beyond the columns provided, you can add your own user-defined columns by selecting Edit Columns from the Columns menu on the toolbar. Default columns appear in black text, while custom column names appear in bold blue text. Click the plus sign to add a new column. Calendar will prompt you to add a name for it. To delete any user-defined column, select the minus sign. You can also change the order of the columns with the up and down arrows on this screen.